All right, we back at it. Chuck Dizzle with you live and direct, man. Keep it at homegrown, of course, man. And look, I got some folks in the building right now. 2 of 3 I have the pleasure of knowing for over a decade. You know what I'm saying? Some bosses, creators, owners, family men. I mean, and they smoke big too. All right, we're gonna talk to a lot of the homies right now, man. I got Kareem Ford up in here. Shouts out to my boy Reem. I call him Reem.
What's up?
And we got King Crooked in here as well, man. The legendary.
Dizzle.
Yeah, man. I just met Anthony, man. Tell us who Anthony is.
Man, Anthony's like, I always talk to him like he's like the engine to the car.
Okay.
You know what I'm saying? He's shot all the footage for the film, edited all the stuff, all the graphics. It's all him. So
and that's what we're talking about. We're talking about Smoke Big, the documentary. Congratulations to you first and foremost. Reem, we've been talking about this for some time, and we go back. So I definitely want to dive into a lot of the conversations that we have been having. But tell people about what Smoke Big is, and why did you decide to do this documentary? Because I know you have handed some documentaries before, but why this and why now?
Man, it was, first of all, it was time. I seen a hole in the marketplace, and every time I look at something that isn't there, I see something. You know what I mean? It's like, how come black people spend so much money on cigars, but we haven't been represented properly? So again, this is my second documentary, so. I thought it was well fitting to do this. You know what I mean?
And it was funny what you said, because I'm not a smoker, right? And for me, this is a learning lesson in getting education on my side. But when you think of smoking, when you think of cigars, you think of like, for me, the first thing I think of Cuban cigars. I think of Miami. I think of like different areas. I don't necessarily think of Los Angeles, right? Yeah. So for you, you're saying you saw that void here, and you want to tell that story from this perspective.
Yeah, I've smoked all over the country, but here, this is home.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So I'm seeing people smoking cigars every now and then casually, and I've been to several cigar lounges. And I'm like, man, there's got to be something here.
Right.
And, we started off with a YouTube series called Beyond the Smoke.
Right.
And that was just me sitting down with notable people, some people of inspiration or influence to me. And at the time, me and Anthony are shooting these episodes. And we just had this conversation the other day. And Anthony was like, there's something bigger here. Like, what's the play? Like, we're doing these interviews, it's dope.
Right.
But there's got to be a bigger play here. And I kind of knew what he was getting at, because he and I spoke about the first documentary that I did.
I'm about to say, because you had demos before,
yeah.
And that was like for independent artists, or just people that are in the business and showing independent artists and just creators that there's a way to do it. You don't necessarily have to go the major route, right?
100%.
And you've talked to a lot of people throughout the music industry, and that's your background, right? But I can imagine, because Demos was your first documentary. Spent a lot of money out of your own pocket. I don't think you were trying to go that route again.
No.
So when he's telling you like, hey man, there's something bigger here, you like, look, big as in like, I know what the money it takes to do this.
Yeah.
So was it a lot of convincing that it took for you to actually take on this journey?
Yeah, between Anthony and I, yeah. Because
how many conversations would you say it was like after
it
what
was a few. It was a few, because I knew what he was getting at, but I'm like, do I want to go back down that road again?
Right.
But he told me something that stood out to me. He was like, man, you weren't happy with the process of the first film, because there was a lot of ups and downs in independent filmmaking. And he was like, you're not going to have that same process this time.
PB, my guy that's filming, shaking his head. He's like, yes,
it's about the process. Yeah. So once he said that, I started to feel a certain level of comfort, and I said, all right, let's go. Let's make this happen.
Got it. Now, as I'm talking about it, I'm thinking about cigars in Los Angeles. One person comes to mind, Suge Knight. Right, that comes to mind automatically now that I'm thinking about it, and I was going to segue into Crooked too, because like Crooked, COB, you always got the cigar. So how did you guys link up? I'm assuming did it come from the Demos documentary, or did you have a relationship with Crooked prior to that?
It's funny because we have a mutual friend, Sebastian.
Shout out Sebastian.
Yeah, definitely shout out Sebastian.
Is that the educator?
Yes.
Yeah, I know. Yeah, I know exactly. Yeah.
So he had created this hip hop curriculum.
Absolutely.
And that Crooked and I were interested in, and this was like 2020.
Wow.
Around that time. Now, mind you, I never met Crook before. Now, he was in Demos.
So you never met him when you did Demos?
Nah. That was one interview that I didn't go to.
Demos is.
Yeah.
Are you serious?
I need to see Demos.
Yeah.
Get the fuck out of here.
Yeah.
So you have no idea that you was on Demos?
No.
No.
I would love to check
You on the trailer?
Yeah.
That's wild.
dope.
Okay.
Yeah.
It's fire though. So I thought that's what the connection came from. So you met Crooked in 2020.
I met him in 2020, but he was in my film in 2014.
That's crazy.
That's dope.
Yeah.
That's amazing. So okay, so what was the connection in terms of like, okay, you knew he was a cigar smoker? Or was that somebody that you want to reach out to about this?
It's funny that when Anthony and I were talking about a narrator and putting this thing together, Crook is one of the first names that popped into my head. I don't know why. I mean, I knew he smoked cigars,
Right.
but his voice, right? He comes from I come from hip hop culture,
Right.
where you have to be like an individual at the time. And one of the things that stood out to me was his voice.
Absolutely. Cuts
So
through.
every time I'm hearing about, okay, LA cigar culture, I said, Crook, I got to get to him. Now, this is before I had officially met him in 2020. So when I did meet him, I kind of like rushed him a little bit and was like, I know you don't know me,
Right.
but you're actually in my first documentary.
I was just about to say, I know you,
And
but
he
you
was
in my
like,
film,
okay,
bro.
cool. But he was listening to me. I said, I got this idea and I'm working on a new film and I would love for you to narrate it.
Wow. Okay.
And he's like, all right. I guess he may have seen the passion in me because I'm very passionate about certain things. And he did not hesitate. He was like, all right.
Amazing.
You mentioned the laws of attraction. That's what made me do it.
Word.
You know what I'm saying?
So in that conversation, he mentioned that, and you're
Yeah.
like, okay, it's something here.
It's something here. You know what I mean? He was like, yo, I believe in the laws of attraction, you know, and I didn't know I was going to see you today. You know what I mean? I got this film, and I was like, you know what? I'm on that vibe too. Let's do it. You know what I'm saying?
That's amazing because I'm sure you get approached by so many people, so many different opportunities, and I wanted to ask what was the one thing. So him mentioning the laws of attraction was the one thing that actually said, okay, let me just take this serious and see what's going on.
Absolutely, man. You know what I mean? Like, I look for like-minded individuals to work with.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? It's close, you know, we don't got to agree on everything, but if we on the same frequency,
Absolutely.
then I'm good, you know what I mean? And that was just it, bro. And it was trippy too because, you know, we both in a spot that, you know, the kids, man, over there at Sebastian's class were making such dope music. And I'm just blown away that we sitting in, you know what I mean, Nipsey Hood, you know, Crenshaw and Slauson across the street from the Marathon. And these kids are in class creating hip hop. That was some of the biggest. I was just blown away by the moment, period. And then when he came up and he started talking about one of my other loves, which is having a good smoke, you know what I'm saying? I'm like, yo, this is a good day. Let's do this, you know what I mean? And we just start talking over the phone, man, and he starts showing me pieces of the, you know, the work. And I'm like, yo, you know what? This is a great idea because it, you know, when I go around the world, I find these different cigar lounges to chill at. I always do that, you know what I mean? So if I'm in a hotel, that's the first thing I look for. Is like, yo, let me see if it's a cigar lounge around here, you know. And I've been in some great ones, but there's a lot of us missing, you know. And I just thought that this was a void, and I thought it was a good idea, a brilliant idea actually, and I just wanted to take part in it.
So for somebody like myself that's not into the culture, like how do you welcome somebody like myself in? What would I get from the film if I have no knowledge of cigars? Like what's the thing that's going to draw me in?
Well, it's funny because on the surface you think it's just a film about cigars, right? But it's deeper than that. It's much deeper than that because cigars are infinite, right? Or finite rather, right? You have a wrapper, you have a binder, and you have a filler. And it depends on how you mix those three things up is when you get an individual cigar, right? A unique cigar. But I didn't find that there was much entertainment value in that. So Anthony and I said, you know what? This needs to be about culture. You know what I mean? So it's not so much the cigars themselves, it's about the people behind them, right? So when we're talking about that, we're talking about those people, we're talking about community, we're talking about culture. Now we got something cooking.
Yeah, it says a film about inspiration, desire, and hustle told by respected people in business, sports, entertainment, and under-recognized pillars in Los Angeles cigar community. In this film, we educate the novices like myself, okay, and celebrate the aficionados who love the culture and have a story to tell, man. So while you were, documenting the process, talking to different individuals, what are some things that you yourself learned throughout this whole process?
Well, we were fortunate enough to take a trip to Nicaragua.
Wow.
And a lot of people here and all around the world smoke cigars that are manufactured and made in Nicaragua. So I felt that it would lend towards the authenticity of the film if we put boots on the ground and got over there and really got with those people. And one thing that I learned about those people in Nicaragua is that they had a real passion for it. This is what they do day to day, in and out. This is what they do. This is their livelihood. You know, so learning that and getting into those tobacco fields, right, where they grow this stuff, and it's like you feel a connection there, you know, and you feel much better about the cigars that you're smoking. So that was one thing that really opened my eyes up for sure.
Who were some of the other people that you reached out to talk about this, and who's featured in the film, and what can we expect from this as well?
Well, we got Guy Torrey, you know, comedy legend. He's in the film, speaking a lot of game, just about how to move, how to navigate through any industry that you're in,
Which is valuable.
Yeah. We have Cedric the Entertainer, who's talking a lot about being authentic and being true to yourself. Of course, we got Crook narrating the whole thing. Who else is in the film, man?
Kid.
Kid.
Salazar.
Yeah, Lincoln Salazar, from former CEO of Cigar and Spirits. We had Kid from Kid and Play.
Nice.
We had a nice conversation with him just on Sunset, and you know, just him telling his story. You know, it was real entertaining, man.
Well, speaking about Kid, man, we thinking about we're not thinking about we're celebrating 50 years of hip hop, man.
Yeah.
And you guys obviously have a background in music. You grew up in hip hop. You've seen its inception. You know, obviously have your hands in it. What do you think about the celebration, and you know how it's come so far now, and where can we take it to the next level?
Yeah, and that was one thing that I really wanted to incorporate in the film, and it's just divine timing.
Gotcha.
Really, right? That it's the 50th anniversary.
of hip-hop, yeah.
But there's a heavy hip hop element within this film. I mean, I have to be true to who I am and where I come from. So you might, when you hearing Crook's voice, you might be, I know that voice.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? And then go ahead.
So yeah, so just piggybacking off of like his demos out there, right? So I knew he understood, you know, that lane, and I have a musical background too, but it's from like an engineering and producing side. So
That's just as valuable, because motherfuckers wouldn't be sounding the way they are if it wasn't for you.
Exactly. So, but I was like, okay, we got to change this process. Cigars is a chill, kickback thing that I guess people think they're like only old white men partaking.
I seen a meme recently that he said for some reason, once you turn 40, you start smoking cigars and wear white linen suits. You know what I'm saying? What is it about that? You know what I'm saying? But we're talking about stereotypes. So it's like that's one of the stereotypes that people think of, for sure.
Yeah, so once we like decided we was gonna do it, because we were doing that web series, and I was like, we have to we taking a gamble for shooting an hour, 2 hours for getting some views on YouTube, but let's try to make this bigger in a moment, you know? So putting our brains together, it was more like, all right, let's make it about cigars with like a dope backdrop, right? So let's put the music behind it. Let's set the tone. Let's make it a undertone hip hop, and then like, who would be best to do this? You know, you got like the guy from one of the legendary lyricist groups, you know, and then like a native and the authenticity, and he smokes cigars, you know. So it was just like boom, boom, boom. It made so much sense. And then I reached out to my partner P.A. Dre. He like I don't know if you're familiar with like R.J. Payne or what have you, but he produced like a majority of his things, all his things. And so he is on all of the beats, on all the production in the film. So he sent me a bunch of libraries. I started going through, chopping up everything, matching, you know, with the cadence and all the things, and just, you know, you can just tell by even how I'm speaking about it that it's authentic to the culture. And I don't want to say like loosely about cigars, but it's over cigars.
Gotcha,
you know, you get to really see who people are and like what they really into.
I like to add to that too, like 50 years of hip hop. Hip hop is growing and getting older, and the participants, the MCs, the producers, the promoters, the personalities, everybody's getting older. Yeah. And we're entering into a space that we never been into before. So hip hop is smoking cigars now.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
Facts.
And I think that, you know, to me, cigars, like if I get with the homie Russell Peters, shout out Russell Peters, and we start smoking, and, you know, he's inviting people over, and Lord Finesse, you know, is there, and all these actors and comedians, and we just smoking. It's unity. You know what I'm saying? It brings people together.
Facts.
You know? So I think that is great, you know, for the 50 years of hip hop, because we see a lot of division. You know what I mean? Like you see Melly Mel versus Eminem.
Facts.
You see Nas and, you know what I'm saying, MC Shan. Like, nah, man, we need unity. We don't need division. So I feel like, you know, the cigar, let's make that the wave.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, I'm thinking about opening up a lounge myself, you know what I mean? Just to
That'd be fire.
have like industry people that are on a positive level, you know, come down. Let's smoke one.
And it's all over good conversations too. I mean,
Right.
without me smoking, I know that's one of the stereotypes that come with it, a positive stereotype, if you will. Like, got to have a fire conversation while you know, lighting one up. You know what I mean? And I think that I'm assuming that's what we're getting with the film as well.
Yeah, that's a lot of that. You know what I mean? Because, you know, when you're in a cigar lounge, you don't know who you're sitting next to. You could be sitting next to a multimillionaire.
Wow.
You be sitting next to somebody who works for the city, whatever the case may be. But you're having a conversation. You end up sparking a conversation because you're there for an hour.
Right.
Hour 15, you're not moving. One thing, you can't rush a cigar. You know what I'm saying? So you're stuck. So you might as well have a conversation, and you'll be surprised at the conversations and people that you meet. I met a lot of people over a cigar. That's why you see people smoking cigars on a golf course or something like that. It's really beneficial. I don't want to encourage the smoke cigar, but
I get it.
You know what I mean? But you'll find out, you'll meet a lot of people and learn a lot. So you're going to see a lot of that in the
And
film.
learn a lot about yourself, patience.
Yeah, for sure.
You know what I'm saying? Cutting it the right way so it doesn't unravel on you while you're smoking.
Facts.
You know, roasting the end of it. Don't just put it up to your mouth and start trying to inhale. No, roast
don't wanna
it
do that.
at the end. You know what I'm saying? Like, let it ash it. Let it sit in the ashtray for a minute while you know what I mean? You're just chilling. It's meant to build patience, discipline, and relax you. You know what I'm saying? At the same time.
Yeah.
So I think that's, you know, man, smoking cigars is just, it's a wonderful thing. But I feel you though. You know, I'm glad that, you know, the premium cigars don't have as many additives and things of that nature that are in other things, you know what I mean? Because, you know, we do have to be cautious of our health, and that's another thing that I think hip-hop needs to focus on, you know, is health. I don't feel like we talk about it enough, speak about it enough, and do anything about it.
Yeah.
So, yeah, you got to be cautious in what you do. Too much of anything. We know the saying, but it's good for my mental health. I tell you that much.
Wow.
It relaxes me.
I want to applaud you, Crook, because you've been very vocal over the last couple of years about, you know, sobriety. You know what I'm saying? You know, that's close to home to me, man. What's funny is that I believe our dates are around the same, or our years are around the same. I'll be celebrating 7 years next month.
I celebrated 7 in February.
So, okay, so I think I saw you say something. It was either in February or it was the last year. I was like, oh, wow. But talk about that, because I think that's also a part of hip hop growing up, right? It's doing away with a lot of the vices. You know, a lot of people don't talk about that because, you know, we feel like it's a young man's sport, a young man's game, which to a certain extent it is, but it's like we're seeing hip hop grow up, right? And part of growing up is taking care of yourself, being healthy. You know what I mean? So speak to that, man, because I love the fact that you shed more light on that, and that needs to be said more.
Yeah, man. Like we said, it's growing up. When I was young, I embraced that narrative that hip hop was a young man's sport. As I got older, I started looking at the landscape, and I started asking myself, well, how do you tell these older rappers to stop doing something that they love just because they're aging, wiser, and better, a lot of them? That's the wrong time to tell somebody to stop. Yeah. You know what I mean? And that's one part of it. And then the other part, as far as the health goes, man, it's like we party like rock stars for decades. You know what I'm saying? I got my first record deal when I was like 19. You know what I mean?
Damn.
So I seen decades. I opened a bottle and decades flew by. You know what I'm saying? And we pound you getting alcohol everywhere you go, the business meetings. You know, you're on tour bus, so you're not driving. You're not responsible for getting yourself to whatever location you're going to. So you got alcohol on the tour bus. You get to the club or the venue, and
Open
they got
bar,
alcohol on the rider.
Yep.
And you know what I'm saying? So it's just everywhere flowing, you know, and it's easy to really damage your health partying like a rock star as a rapper in your 20s. So once you get into your 30s, you got to start thinking about, I might have to do some damage control here. Right. You know what I mean? And people don't talk about that because it's their personal business. But when I started opening up to people about, I had high blood pressure, I had borderline diabetic, high cholesterol.
Right.
I just start telling people because I felt like it could help somebody. You know what I mean? And I wanted the generation after me to understand that, yo, if you do things in moderation, you'll thank yourself. Your future self thanks you.
Yeah,
you know what I mean? Because
sure.
it's real in the field. I've been in some hospital beds, you know, not knowing if I was going to get up out of them. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So it's like, everything you got don't mean nothing. That lowrider I've been working on, you know what I'm saying, that I finally got how I wanted. When I'm in that hospital bed, I can't do nothing in that lowrider.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? So it's like all the things that we work hard for and the things we want to do with our families, our loved ones, you can't do it without your health. We know that for a fact, and we can't skip over that part. So, you know, I just think as hip hop ages, we need to start making, you know, putting focus on the health aspects of everything, man. Just take care of yourself, you know what I mean? Just have yourself a triangle offense, man. Your mindset, your body, you know what I'm saying, your spirit, and try to be the best version of yourself. It's just, you know, drink your water, man, and do things in moderation. Because I'm telling you, Chuck, when I came out the first time and said I had high blood pressure, my phone rang off the hook that day with rappers.
Wow.
That was like, yo, man,
Me
I'm
too.
going through the same thing. And I work out every day.
Crazy.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So it's like, yo, and then I had little homies calling me like, yo, big homie, I had to go to the hospital because blah, 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 man. How should I change up my diet? I'm like, yo, you need to add some greens, some vegetables, some fruits. You need to cut off your eating at a certain hour. You need the intermittent fast. You need to, you know what I mean? Then you start breaking it down. So you want to give this information out, bro. And I just think that that's a part of hip hop. See, hip hop, that one of the core elements of hip hop is knowledge. Mm-hmm. And a lot of people overlook that in this current era.
Why do you think that is?
Because I think that the corporations that came in, and I ain't one of them, the big bad evil corporations, but you know, the agenda started to change. And one thing, dog, the MCs need to talk about it more, and rap media. Mm-hmm. If we don't got homegrown, we don't got you, we don't got Head, we don't got Sway, we don't got Rob Markman.
Right.
If you remove these pieces, dog, it's a lot of noise out there.
Facts.
You know what I'm saying? Yeah. And it's not good for the culture. Yeah. You know what I mean? It stinks. Like, rap media stinks, bro. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. And it's only a few of y'all that's really helping it progress and trying to keep it the way it's supposed to be. And, you know, it's like we got to change those things because the next generation is watching us, and we want them to take it further than we ever did. And we had knowledge, bro. Yeah. KRS-One taught me things in raps when I was a kid. You know what I'm saying? Public Enemy taught me things when I was a kid, bro. It's nothing wrong with that. Yeah. You know what I mean? We got to bring that back. That energy need to be back. And I'm happy that these people are making a living and they doing good, and that's great, man. But we do need that balance, bro. And I think it's an agenda. And I seen Head tweet something. DJ Head, man, you be tweeting some stuff, dog. He said, you know, what if intellect was as widespread as ignorance is? You know what I'm saying?
Right.
And it's like, yo, it can be though.
Yeah.
You know, but we got to take action. You know what I'm saying? And I ain't the type of person that just sit back and complain. That's why I started Crooks Corner.
I was about to say, you
know
in
what
the
I'm
media
saying?
space as well, which I love. And I think that more OGs, more people that are of the culture need to represent their voices that way. And it's like, you don't have to rely on the iHeart or Real or whatever to get on. It's like, start your own shit and keep that going. That's
like
why
y'all did.
like we did, like what Homegrown did, right? And these companies will come for you because they see that you're authentic and you're of the culture, and that the people really want that, right? And it's like, I love the fact that you started that with Crooks Corner. And one thing that you were talking about, you said you want to make sure that that lyricism is still at the forefront of hip hop, right? And from a West Coast perspective, that you have a seat at that table. That's what you feel like you bring to the table. And I love that, man, because I feel like we always get the back end of that. It's like when it comes to lyrics, it's like, oh yeah, he's cool, but it's like, no, we got some spitters out here, bro.
What?
Stop playing around with us.
Don't stop playing.
And so I love the fact that you took it upon yourself to have your own media company. I want to segue into that, man. What's the status of Crooks Corner? What can we expect from that? How can Homegrown help Crooks Corner, and how can we collaborate to make, each one of our platforms bigger? You know what I'm saying? And build off of that.
If you got any ideas, I'm open. I gotta say how proud we are of you and DJ Head and what you guys accomplished. I saw where y'all was at.
Jump. Yeah,
You know what I
man.
mean?
Yeah.
And y'all was getting it in, and y'all was just as professional and just as on point then, you know what I'm saying, as you are now. You didn't let the big platform change you, you know what I'm saying? And that's commendable. So, I've been plotting with Big Steel, man, over there at Digital Soapbox.
Yeah,
you
man.
know what I'm
Salute
saying?
Steel.
Shout out Steel. We've been just having conversations every day like, dog, Chris Corner got to be back and it got to be right.
Yeah.
And I do want to get in that chair again, bro, because first of all, like you said, on the West Coast, we're underrepresented in
Absolutely.
hip-hop. You know what I mean? I love all my guys. Drink Champs. I've been on all these different shows. Math Hava, all these podcasts. But when it comes to the representation of West Coast hip hop is missing, is lacking. Is you don't hear about Spice One and MC8 and what they achieved and how Biggie was influenced by King T and you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And you don't hear about the Blackstone Gorillas. You know what I'm saying? Like you don't hear about these people out here that are part of the culture and putting in blood, sweat, and tears. And guess what? It's not their job.
Right.
It's our job to tell that
right,
story.
for sure.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So that's why I get up and say, I'll go and do it myself. Yeah. And I will join the voices like yours, and Head and Bootleg Kev and all, the homies, and just sit at the table with y'all like, let's do this.
Yeah,
you know what I'm
happen,
saying?
man.
Let's
We can
get it out there.
voices, for sure.
You know what I mean? Because, dog, we got stories for days. We got things that they don't know about. Me personally, you mentioned Suge Knight. When I was on Death Row Records, dog, probably more drama that people love to tune into happened during that time than even when Snoop and Pac was on there.
Wow.
But the thing was, there was no hit records attached to it.
Gotcha.
So there was no, big fantasizing about, politicizing, whatever you want to call it, the situations, because there were no hit records. Suge was blackballed, and they weren't trying to give that man power again, ever again. Yeah. But as far as the stories from each artist, Eastwood, Left Eye, Spider Logue, Corrupt came back. All these artists had stories during that time period that have not really been told.
Yeah.
And all the drama was cracking. You know what I'm saying? Like shootouts, squabble
drama,
ups.
it was there.
You want the squabble ups, the shootout, whatever you want. It was there.
Yeah.
So it's like, I even want that story to come out because we can all learn from that.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And it's just, I love hip hop, man, to my core. And I feel like the West is underrepresented. And I want to make sure that our OGs, man, get all their flowers.
Yeah. But to commend you on that too, or piggyback off of that, I want those stories to come out too, but I want the folks that lived it and were a part of it to benefit from it.
Word.
You know what I'm saying? Because a lot of times the stories come out and it's like other platforms get blown up because of it, and it's like, well, what about the people that actually went through the shit?
Yeah.
And some cases maybe suffering behind it or whatever. That money
traumatized
by it. It's like they over there reliving it by having it amplified on social media, and nothing's coming back to them. So that's why it's important. These people in that era and at that time, make sure that they tell these stories and have these platforms, and whatever we got to do to make that happen. You already know I'm all for that.
I'm gonna hit you up, bro, because I'll take you. Man, listen, I'm a leader of many that knows how to follow.
Let's make it happen, bro.
You know what I'm saying? I follow your lead all day.
Yeah.
Because this is your space. You know what I'm saying? And that's why I tell Sway too the same thing. I talk to him like, yo, Sway, man, give me some advice. I'm about to go interview Eminem.
Wow.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And he'd be like, yo, woo, 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 woo. You know what I'm saying? So I seek counsel all day, bro. But I appreciate that offer too, just to even help out.
Of course. One other thing I want to touch on before we switch back to the Miracle Theater, because I definitely want to talk about that with Big Smoke. Smoke Big. Smoke Big.
Yes, sir.
Matter of fact, let's get on that, man. It's gonna be at the Miracle Theater. I already know it's sold out. You know what I'm saying? The release, the premiere. Now I know you're gonna probably take a page out of the demos book and I'm sure you're gonna have multiple releases in other countries in different cities. So for the people that are watching this and aren't able to make it, how can they participate in the documentary? How can they support it? How can they see it? We'll lay that all out for them as well.
Yeah, like you said, August 30th at the Miracle Theater. It is sold out at this point, so I'm super grateful for that. So I'm going to give glory to God first for that, because that didn't have to happen. But Anthony and I are talking. We're having discussions on where we want to go next. I'm not in a big rush to just put it out there on some streaming platform because I know how things go. Like it's here today and gone tonight. And I'm like, I'm not cool with that. So because I have something that's of value, right, it's important for me to keep that value high. So I want to create a demand for it. Okay. So we are going to be moving around with it a little bit. I know there's some other states that want to do screenings in their cities and stuff like that. And we've talked about different things from Japan to Panama to certain things like that. So all things are on the table right now. I'm just taking my time with that.
Aside from falling in love with the process, what's one thing that you learned from doing this that you learned from demos that you applied to this documentary?
Well, for me personally, it was more trying to stay in the moment. Okay. Right? I'm always constantly thinking about the end result. When it's like, I have to stay in the moment. Let me just stay in the moment. So when Anthony and I are sitting down and we're editing this thing and getting it together, I'm just really taking it all in. Not just trying to go to the next scene, to the next screen. You know what I mean? That's kind of, I think, what I learned most importantly.
Just appreciating every single moment, the conversations, the music behind it, laying it all out, all those things.
Because, Anthony will tell you, it's like every time we get in there, we get excited like it was the first time. And we've been working on this thing for years now. But every time we have these conversations, we get excited again about it. Yeah. So that lets me know it's very, very
That's
special.
good, man. That's a special thing. It's one thing if you get tired of this shit, like, man, when are we going to release this shit? The fact that you're still passionate about it speaks volumes, right?
What do you think, Ed?
Well, yeah, I was saying, like, I'm more in your space with the cigars.
Yeah.
So I'm, like, a novice as well. So I just wanted to get involved in the creative side. Yeah. So, like, it's easier when I'm like, tell me what parts I'm missing.
Got you.
Tell me the pertinent information I need, and then
you know what? That's, I think, lended to the greatness of the documentary. And I'm gonna say that it is a great documentary when you see it, and I'm sure you'll be there on the 30th to check it out. Yeah. But I think that lended to the creative space because Anthony's not a cigar smoker. He's like, that's not my thing. That's your thing. But we collaborated on it. He was like, okay, you tell me what your vision is. Gotcha. What do you see? And he said, okay, I can put this spin on it. Or, okay, I see where you're going. I can do this. Like I said, he's a producer. Yeah. So he has a whole different mindset. You know what I mean? He knows how timing and cutting up Crook's narration. He knew, okay, I'm going to put this here. I'm going to put this there. You know what I'm saying? I'm just like looking at him like I'm a fan of him as well. Right. You know what I'm saying? So it's like we work together really well like that.
I love it, man. And bro, I'm just proud of you because those conversations that we had, months ago, even years ago from the first go round. And one thing that I really, I admire about you is that you follow through, right? You finish what you say, even if it's not what you expect it to be, you're gonna follow through and you're gonna finish. Yeah. You're gonna finish the job, and you're gonna have that physical product somewhere. You know what I'm saying? And it ends up being bigger than what you even imagined. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. And that just speaks volumes about who you are as a man, and and the people that you have around you. And I just commend that to you, bro.
I appreciate that. And what really drives me is my two sons. You know how that goes, right? Bro. I got two boys. So, and they're watching me. Yeah. I work a day job, but they see me on the phone and they see me having these meetings. Or, I got to hook up with Anthony. Oh, you making your movie, Daddy? Yeah. You know what I mean? So I get emotional when I talk about them. Absolutely. Because it's for them and it's about legacy. You know what I mean? And it's about something that they can see and they can learn that no matter what you put your mind to, and it's a real thing, that you can accomplish it. Yeah. Not saying that you won't have obstacles along the way, but if you stay focused, you can do whatever you want to do.
So I want to segue into that, and we'll end on this note, man. What dad advice do you have for myself and other fathers out there?
Again, kind of like the process with the film, really try to be in the moment because the time goes by so quickly. You look up, and I got a 13-year-old now. Wow. When I was doing demos, he was 3.
Sheesh.
You see what I'm saying?
Right,
So
yeah,
the
yeah.
time just rolls by. So just try to stay in the moment as much as possible. Yeah.
Anthony, you got kids?
Yeah.
All right. Dad advice from Anthony. What dad advice would you give to myself and all the other fathers out there?
Nothing is more important than those kids. Like, because as men, I know that's why we do it, you know? And then this is weird flip that happens where that's all you do.
Yeah.
And then they want your attention. They want to just be around. They want you to show up the things you can't make because you have prior engagements. But, yeah, nothing is more important than the kids, like, at all. Like, because we can remember being kids and wishing it was a different scenario or somebody had time to pick us up or do what they said they was going to, you know what I mean? Everybody got a different story, but, yeah, zero.
My boy Premium Pete, he always says this, and I got to give him credit because this is where I saw it and heard it from. Presence over presence. You know, it's that simple. It's the presence over presence. I like that. So King Crooked, man.
Yeah.
Dad advice from you, man. What's some dad advice you can give to myself and all the fathers out there, bro?
Be very intentional about improving your communication skills. Because if you got a couple kids, one might receive information differently than the other one does. So you can't run the same script down on all your kids. You got to really try to dig into who they are, how they receive information, and how you listen to them, peep their body language, you know what I mean? And just try to be super intentional on communicating the best way that you can with your children.
Man, I'm learning that now. I got a 5-year-old and one that's just turned 5 months, and I said, oh man, I got this daddy shit. Easy work. Nah,
Gonna be a breeze.
man, this
say one is not like
no, like the other. Man, I'm like, oh, so this manual's different. Okay, all right. Nobody told. All right, for sure. All right.
Then that's when your stuff start coming
Man.
out. Like your old stuff. Like,
Man,
dang,
like what is
I got a short
happening
temper.
here? Exactly. Like, why is my voice
Yeah,
raised
exactly.
right now? I thought I was smooth with this. Nah, but man, I appreciate you brothers coming on through just as businessmen, as black men, as fathers, as you know, those of the culture, just being authentic and just spending your time. And I wish you nothing but the best. I will be there August 30th for the premiere, Miracle Theater. It's sold out, so sorry for you if you ain't gonna be out there, but you can still support. Let them know how one more time. Man.
Yeah, man, we're looking at Amazon Prime. That's one of the things that we're looking at. But like I said, all deals are on the table right now, so we're gonna just weigh it out and see.
But how can they find you, or how can they find more information about the film?
You can follow us at Smoke Big Doc, on Instagram. That's probably the main place you can find us right now, for sure.
Smokebig.shop.
There we
We
go.
got access to just a bunch of the pathways and partnerships that we're currently coming up with. Merch, the director's cut cigar with Prada.
Yes. We have our own cigar.
Yeah,
Nice, as
and
you
so
should.
and more to come, but just something to just throw on while you go, step out, go to the lounge, barbecue, something, whatever. But yeah, just smokebig.shop. I'm at Premade on IG.
Okay.
Because my name is Anthony Dupree. So yeah, at Premade on all platforms.
All right. And of course at King Crooked, you know what I'm saying? You can find him everywhere. You know what I'm
Find me
saying?
everywhere. King Crooked on Instagram and Facebook. Crooked in Triago on Twitter. King Crooked on Threads. Crook's Corner on Discord. Crook's Corner on YouTube. And just holler at me. I like to engage. I have rap conversations daily on Twitter, so y'all should hit me up. We really, really get busy. You know what I'm saying? We touch on some real stuff over there, and everybody joins in. Today, the Grandmaster OG Chuck D jumped in from Public Enemy. You know what I'm saying? So y'all come on Twitter, man. We have all these dope rap conversations. I love it. And all my smokers out there, make sure you watch that documentary. You know what I mean? And let me know. Hit me up. Tell me what kind of sticks y'all like partaking in. And let's talk about it.
Let's get it going, man. Keeping it homegrown, of course. Chuck Dizzle with you live and direct. We'll catch y'all next time.